Some years ago, I came across a piece written by John Bell from the Iona community, and it's entitled, "I Never Wanted to Be Born." I never wanted to be born. The older I grew, the fonder I became of my mother's womb and its warmth and its safety. I feared the unknown, the next world about which I knew nothing, but imagined the worst. Yet, as I grew older, I sensed in my soul that the womb was not my home forever. Though I did not know when, I felt sure that one day I would disappear through a door which had yet to be opened and confront the unknown, of which I was afraid. And then it happened. In blood, tears, and pain, it happened. I was cut off from the familiar. I left my life behind and discovered not darkness, but light, not hostility, but love, not eternal separation, but hands that wanted to hold me. I never wanted to be born. I don't want to die. The older I grow, the fonder I become of this world and its warmth and its safety. I fear the unknown, the next world about which I know nothing, but imagine the worst. Yet, as I grow older, I sense in my soul that this world is not my home forever. Though I do not know when, I feel that one day I will disappear through a door which is yet to be opened. Perhaps, having come so safely through the first door, I should not fear so hopelessly the second. Let us just take a few moments to reflect upon that reading. Birth and death. It seems significant to consider these two facts of life together. Birth is a step into being. It is a step from the unknown to the known. Death, on the other hand, is a step from what we have known and begun to understand, back into the unknown. If we think about the process of conception, gestation, and birth, it's profoundly puzzling to imagine how our identity develops in that journey. Scientists can increasingly describe what is happening physically, but spiritually, it remains a mystery. It certainly looks like a matter of chance. In this process, we're like the rest of nature, where chance plays such an important part in reproduction. But humans possess self-consciousness, and this makes us want to understand and discover how our identity came to be. By the study of genetics, we understand more about the way our potential is built into a particular initial fetus. But then our minds stumble as we try to trace the path to the incredibly complex human beings we become. An overwhelming experience of birth for the parents is that their baby has its own unique personality and must be given a name. It's not surprising that at this moment, new mothers and fathers often experience what they come to see as spiritual or religious feelings, a sense of wonder, a sense of awe, a sense of something greater than they are. And this in turn can trigger a search for meaning, value and purpose in their own lives. And as the child grows from birthday to be a teenager and then an adult, it's a stunning thought to ponder the growth of independence and individuality from such a conception. And one of the greatest expressions of this wonder comes from an ancient song where the writer sees this process as profoundly the work of God. For it's you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Birth is potentially a precious gathering and pooling of love and joy, offering hope and possibility. And that's why it's so harsh and deeply painful when it goes wrong or when the possibility is lost. But what about the other end of our earthly life? You know, it can be helpful to consider birth and death together if we're looking for the meaning and purpose of human experience. From the unselfish conception, through birth and growth, through our adult lives, we build a personality to which we have contributed our years. At birth, any identity is given in the genes or in the lack of love of those involved with the birth and care of the baby. But when we come to death, we are ourselves. We are the result of our own story, with its mistakes, its shortcomings, its goodness, its courage, its cowardice, its love and its hate. We know how important memory is to our identity, and we know that for some, the power to remember becomes distorted or even lost. But for most of us, experience suggests that the person we have been in the mainstream of life molds the person we become as we grow old. To grow old, full of grace, is an art form, and a great deal depends upon the way our personality and our spirit have developed beforehand. And for all of us, it's a mixture of good and bad, which forms the profile, the CV, with which we contemplate death, the further step into the unknown. Over the centuries and in so many ways, human beings have attempted to describe the afterlife with its related threat or promise. And this has been, for many people, the strongest motivation for good behavior in this life. Nowadays, we treat death very differently from Victorian times. After the Victorians' period's obsession with death, we tend nowadays to evade it, or at least deal with it as simply and as quickly as possible. Following 2 world wars and the Holocaust, the crumbling in the secular mind of the idea of an afterlife, death has become almost entirely just a human experience. To be obsessed with death, like the Victorians, seems like an error. However, to reduce it simply to a grey exit, or even to try to ignore it, or to have no way of thinking about it and to pretend it won't happen to us, is a sort of refusal to face up to reality. So because we are afraid to contemplate death, we remove from life an awareness of what is intensely human and precious. As someone once said, a signpost to nothing does not encourage enthusiastic walking. This failure to think through what death means to us leads some people to develop a morbid curiosity. For others, it results in flight from the fear of death. And for yet others, it's a matter of eat, drink, and be merry. On the whole, we tend to ignore death as though it is irrelevant until some time in the remote future when it will happen to us. Does death diminish the meaning we have? Does it make what we do less important? Or would it change our goals if it was part of life equation? Some people may find meaning in trying to improve the lot of the next generation, seeing our purpose as a sort of investment in a future we shall not share. Others may decide that's just the way life is, and there's no alternative but to get on with it and hope that we can avoid death as long as possible. But for those of us who have embraced the Christian faith, we have this Christian framework of wonder, mystery, love, trust, and hope to sustain us. And finally, because death happens to each one of us, we are all involved in this human journey, from birth to death. And by the fact that this is a shared human journey, our human sympathy is enlarged. Let us take a few moments to reflect upon these words.